Welcome, everyone, to Nopes and Opes. This is kind of a fun, I don't know, this is a reflection episode, if you will.
Well, also, it's an experimentation of the new Rodecaster Pro 2
Yes,
or whatever that Rowan bought. And I just kind of want to take a moment to, congratulate Rowan on buying it. It's something that we've always, he's always wanted. I have no idea what the hell it does, but apparently, not apparently, it does do amazing things. And then, but also just kind of...
I have air horns and stuff I can do with it.
That's unnecessary. But I think it's just kind of cool. Like, that right there allows us to do things like this.
Yeah.
And so it just shows a progression of the podcast and just the abilities and kind of the options that are available.
Yep.
And right now, we're just kind of experimenting and doing a bunch of things that we think might work. Maybe they won't. Who knows? But we're just going to put them out there and just see what the response is and kind of go from there. But yeah, I just want to say thanks for making that happen. And then two, I'm just kind of excited to see what this all entails and where it takes us and what we can do with it.
And we also are going to have our first ever guest on soon with this is open that up to having more people on the podcast. So it's not just going to be me and Highland talking, but today you're going to get 4 people talking. All right. It's going to be present Rowan and Highland and past Rowan and Highland. This is us listening to live and kind of reacting to the second ever episode titled "The Book Begins." ...
Well, and can I just make a plug right here?
Yeah.
Because like people that are listening to this, if the first guest has been on yet, that's awesome. But kind of just put into your mind that if you wanted, or if you ever had a question, or if you ever wanted to make a comment on this podcast, you now have the abilities, and we will figure out a way to kind of have people be able to call in and kind of express whatever they want to express. And like, just put out a call right now to just kind of get it in your head and just help us out and just make a phone call and just put yourself out there and take a risk and just see what happens, man. Because I think it could be really fun, but at the same time, I think it's going to be kind of tough to get people to call in. But it could be really cool.
Yeah. And sorry about the lighting. We might be losing sunlight, but oh well. Hopefully it looks fine on camera. We're trying our best. I'm trying my best. This episode was released on November 27th, 2023.
November 27th.
2023. Now, it doesn't mean it was recorded that day.
Oh, I was going to say,
that's when it was released.
I was in Colorado then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and here we go, gang. This is exciting.
Wow, November 27th, that is a lifetime ago.
Yeah. Hey, guys, it's Rowan here for the intro. We're doing it a little different. I'm hoping to have one of these intros on every single episode. It'll just be me. I'm recording it after the fact, so Highland will most likely not be in most intros.
Highland will definitely not be in all intros.
In this specific episode, we are referencing Highland's book quite a lot. You will hear us mention something called The Question, which is a chapter in his specific book. Again, the book is called Swimming Backwards, Upside Down. Available in the podcast description. We're going to be beginning with some of the first chapters in the book, and it'll be kind of my commentary on my interpretation of it, and then Highland's response into what he thinks about that. Thank you again for anyone that's listening. Don't forget, you could email us and ask us anything or kind of give your own comments. We've gotten a few emails that will be coming up in future episodes, so we're very excited about that. Again, the email is NopeOpePod@gmail.com. So that is NopeOpePod@gmail.com. Feel free to email us. Thank you so much for listening, and feel free to enjoy the show.
Can you pause it 1 second?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's our intro music.
Yeah, I do like the intro music, actually. But one thing that I've done, like, any reactions right there?
Yeah, I'm like explaining every detail about it, and I'm taking a very long time. Now I've been trying to get the intros to be much quicker, just to get into it. Like, hey, what's up? This is what we're talking about. See ya.
Oh, My thoughts are, I think you can tell your state of mind because of the energy.
No.
Like I think a long time ago in November, whatever, things were not ideal. And now I think if you listen to an intro, you're peppier, zippier,
Yeah.
happier.
Well, the problem is sometimes I record the intros the morning before I release them.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm
fair
like,
enough.
hey everyone, welcome to Nope.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So maybe that I might be reading into that, but
no. Back into it.
that reminds me of Mr. Rogers.
Maybe I'll tell you my
I like
initial
that.
impression upon
Okay.
reading it, and then you can kind of.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, absolutely.
So the first chapter, you just talk about kind of the whole idea, or
I had to listen to
guess you
this
would say
whole
like
episode.
an analogy or a metaphor
Yeah.
for how we go through life,
Yeah.
swimming backwards and upside down. It's funny because I actually swam in high school and just kind of like I swam all 4 years and whatnot. And was very big in my life. So when I initially read it, I was like, well, one, I do understand how difficult it is to swim, but also like the idea of being thrown into life being just like a sea of like, where do you go? Where do you end up? And just kind of trying to figure it out on your own, which I always thought was an initial. There's a lot more breath sounds.
Okay, hold on. Stop. What is happening? Like, am I 300 pounds and like barely able to breathe in this episode, or what's the deal?
The thing is with this is the second ever episode ever released. I hadn't figured out how to really edit that kind of stuff out.
Oh my god, I sound like freaking Chewbacca or something, man. Like, what the heck?
You just ran before we started recording. So.
Oh my god, this is horrible. Oh, this is brutal.
Off to a great start.
Okay, here
All
we
right,
go.
back into it.
Yeah.
Getting you interested in the book.
No, I think, I mean, almost everybody that I told the title to, they just shook their head and I was like, oh God, Highland, why do you always have to be so weird? I don't know exactly why I chose swimming. Like, it could have been any metaphor, really, and swimming doesn't have any particular real significance to me. Like, I like to swim, and swimming's a big part of, like, staying healthy and things like that. But, yeah, I actually like opening up this book and reading the first sentence. I like it. Yeah, it's
When was the last time you read it?
Oh God, probably once I.
It's funny to hear how kind of like timid we are talking to each other.
Yeah, the connection has not happened yet.
Yeah, the energy is very kind of like there's a stranger in my house.
Yeah, like you stay on that side of the couch, I'll stay on this side of the couch, and we'll somehow get through this.
Yeah, each set, me and Highland have just gotten closer and closer and closer.
Yeah, it's clearly apparent now, listening back to this, it is really, really timid.
Yeah.
Right? Like, not comfortable.
No.
And I mean, I remember this specifically, like how not wanting to do this I really was at that point. I was just like, Highland, this is just a really bad decision. Like, you're talking about something that you haven't talked about for 10 years. You're like doing a freaking podcast. You don't even know what a podcast is. You never listen to a podcast. Like, what the heck are you doing?
Right.
This is a bad decision all around. And yeah, I mean, it is clearly apparent that you
were kind of on guard.
Yeah, I was not fully invested yet at all.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I think we'll eventually hear somewhere in the episode there will be a shift, because I remember in this episode we talk about I pose a question to you and it gets you excited, and I think that's what was the initial like spark.
Oh, so okay, let's do it. This is going to be like a 18-hour episode, isn't it?
I mean, we'll do it. I might skip ahead. We'll see.
Okay. All the way through when we were doing the editing, things like that, and then once I hit.
I'll pose that to you now. Should I skip ahead? Should we go ahead a little bit?
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, this is going to be like a 2-hour episode.
Fine. All right, let's get in. What do you think? What, like 10 minutes in?
But I just think it's so interesting because the way that I talk now and the way that I talk back then is exactly the same, but totally different.
Right? Isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's like, yeah, okay, that's me, but no, that's not me.
Yeah.
Like, now this is more me, right?
It's kind of creepy hearing yourself in the past.
I don't like listening to myself at all. But
yeah, I mean, that's true.
Yeah, it's really all of these new things are super cool. Like I'm really enjoying the heck out of this. This is super fun.
All right, so we're gonna skip ahead to the 10-minute mark. See what
Okay.
happens. Which is kind of my way of deeming something successful.
Wow. But so little energy.
That's incredible. I mean,
Okay, whoa. We have to go back a little
Yeah,
bit.
we
We need a
gotta go
little
back a little bit.
context for that.
Yeah, I said
Like
something.
that was a big response right there.
that you're like, wow.
Yeah.
All right, we're going back to 825.
Okay.
A lot of good role models just in society and like media today. Like for me, I had a great childhood. I didn't necessarily think that I would end up in poverty or anything like that. But
Can we
when
just
I
stop real
got-
quick?
Yep.
One thing that I think is really funny is that when I listen to these episodes with you,
No.
and like you're editing or whatever, and I'm just in the room watching you,
Mhm.
I think it's really, really funny that I laugh at exactly the same moments,
You do.
and I laugh in exactly the same way.
Yep.
Like the cadence of the laugh is the exact same. Like you can almost put my laugh in now and put it in there, and it's almost the exact same.
You relive the moment.
Like how is that possible?
It's very unique.
It's so funny.
It's a lot of fun. You know, like out of my parents' home when I was in college, I defined success as monetary value.
Mm.
My whole goal out of college was like, I'm gonna make as much money as possible so I can give it all to my family and make sure that I'm good and just like be financially stable.
Okay.
And that was my idea of success.
Yeah.
I would tell my dad this or like my mom, and they'd be like, "That's not like you don't have to do that." And I was like, "No, I got it. Like, don't you lie to me. Like, I know this is what is supposed to happen." So I feel like from the gate, you know, even people with good backgrounds, like the idea of success is definitely hard to define. But I like the idea that you kind of put the power back in the individual's idea of what it is. It's how you define success for yourself. It's not based on what someone says on social media. What someone tells you is what you should define success as is whatever you personally feel like, oh, okay, like I did this.
Yeah.
And I think once you get later into the book and we start to talk about responsibility, my kind of view on success now is like just taking responsibility. Like if I can take responsibility for something and it works, then I'm like, that was successful.
Yeah.
And it's not because like, oh, I made this much money this month or like I did this. It's like, dude, you're laying the path or the stepping stones to live a successful life, which is kind of my way of deeming something successful.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, I think you really, really like extremely well, like surmised the whole purpose. Like that was. I don't know if I have anything more to add.
Dude, I told
Like,
you when I read this
well
book,
done.
I was like, we're so timid. We're so
No.
timid. It was very impactful.
Well, I was gonna like when I said wow, I was gonna say wow. I was gonna whoa, like
Wow.
yeah, the same. Oh man, like sometimes I think I'm so original and so unique and like so like whoa, I'm like the most different person ever in the world, and then I'm just like Highland, you're absolutely 1,000% predictable in everything that you do. Like in work right now, like I'm getting made fun of because I say the same things and they're like another Highlandism.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? And they're like, you say the same, you do the same things, you say the same things, you think the same way. Like there's nothing really unique or original or different about you in any way. I'm like, really?
Well, the thing is like, one, take that as a compliment because I believe imitation and paying attention to those details is the highest form of flattery. And two, everyone's the same way.
Yeah.
Like I work with people right now that I've picked up on the ways that they do things, and
Yeah,
I can imitate them
Yeah.
to a T. And it's like, oh, we all do the same things. Like
Yeah.
we have certain things that we just repeat every single day and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
The fact is that we've recorded, hours and hours of us saying them. It's kind of hard to get
Well,
away from them.
And you have heard every single one
Yeah.
thousands of
Well,
times.
now I start to say, oh man, like I do.
Oh God. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely influence from you.
I honestly, I don't have too much. Like well said.
Okay, episode's over. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Oh,
I think
man.
one of the things like that's been very helpful for me is like I think in the
so
in
much
the,
to in this.
like in the video that I'll record later, like, almost being 50 years old, I realized that I have spent almost 50 years like being embarrassed and being ashamed and being
Oh man.
very private with my life because I feel like I have not been successful. Right? I don't
Oh. Whoa.
drive the
Yeah, we
fancy
got deep.
car. I don't
Yikes,
have
Highland.
the huge house. I don't. My life is very weird in a lot of ways. Right? Like I'm not married. I don't have kids. I don't have all of these things that I'm supposed to have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's been a real journey. And just recently, within the past couple of years, I've come to the point where I'm like, Highland, you're okay.
Oh, man.
You have done a good job. You can take responsibility for everything, like all of it, like the good, all of it, the bad, everything. And there are like you should be proud. And it's an amazing feeling. I mean, it's really been very liberating, and it's been really helpful in just being happy in life and kind of moving forward in a way that is really positive and beneficial to me and hopefully to others. But yeah, I think yeah, I'm like I always said, if I wrote this book and one person it helped one person, that would be a huge success for me. So
Yeah.
like for me, you validated my whole reason for
Hey, look
yeah.
at that.
So I appreciate it.
Man, it's crazy to hear how you sound, right? You're saying the same things you always say, but your tone is so much different.
Well, I don't know. I just went from being happy go lucky, the world is great, like in the best mood ever, to being like, whoa, dang, like yikes, man. Like that was really heavy. That was me. That was about that was about as like raw and unfiltered and kind of expressive as you're gonna get from me.
Yeah.
Like that took a little piece of my heart out of the day today, because that was me at the beginning of this journey,
Mm-hmm.
like laying myself out there and just like putting myself up like for all to see and just being like, all right, here we go, for better or for worse. And that's something that I have always been terrified to do, and that I was never willing to do before. And now at this point, like now you and I, after, I mean, what is it, July or whatever?
Yeah.
Now it's like, whatever. Like the conversation we just had, man. Are you kidding me? But
Yeah, everything's out there.
yeah, but oh man, that
Do you feel any sense of like pride or joy, or like what's the feeling? What's going on in your head?
so much pride. Like so proud of that Highland. Like this is an amazing thing to do. That moment just put me in a really, really like pensive, deep thought, but really, really prideful. Like, Highland, you did it. Like I can tell how uncomfortable I am there.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying life at the moment, but I am. Like,
Right.
that's about as
It almost sounds like that's the first step in getting to that spot. Right?
yeah, like, wow, this is a really powerful moment. Really, like, I cannot even.
Dude, I'm almost getting emotional. I'm getting like thinking about it.
This totally changed my whole day.
Hopefully for good.
Incredible. I can't, I don't remember how like raw and powerful that moment was, but that was the beginning right there. That was me kind of saying, all right, here we go. Like, I'm going to, like you said, like there's a moment in this podcast where things begin to change. That's the moment right there. That's the moment when like I made a commitment and I said, okay, like I'm not comfortable with this. I don't like it. I'm not gonna enjoy this, whatever. Like I was gonna fight it the whole way. but I'm committed to it. I'm going to go full on. I'm going to go as deep as I can and just make this as powerful and moving and beneficial as I can for anyone that's willing to give their time and energy in listening. And yeah, man, I'm overwhelmed right now. That I'm really like, I'm a little bit, dang.
It's really cool because I mean, so that we're like, we've been doing this for like 9 months. That's like 9 months ago, right?
Yeah.
It's very crazy to listen to yourself and kind of hear the headspace you're in 9 months ago, like in the past, and like
Yeah.
a lot has happened since then. So much has happened since
Oh, a
then.
lifetime has happened.
Yeah, I mean it's insane. So it's kind of cool to like step back in time and like I just can hear how you're like you're like kind of opening the door for me, right? Like I still sound pretty
Yeah.
much the same,
Barely.
but you're like you creaked open the door. But now when we talk, how lively and kind of like the tones and everything
Yeah.
switch so much.
Yeah.
Like there's joy behind it. Not to say that you're not happy in this
Well,
moment, but
there it was very forced.
yeah.
Like I was forcing myself to do something that was not natural for me.
No.
Right? I mean, like talking about being hidden and being like unwilling to share and being kind of ashamed and not worthy and things like that. Like those are big feelings, and those are feelings that I do not share with anybody because I always thought of those as kind of faults or
Shame,
weaknesses, shame, guilt, all of those things, right? But yeah, like just the amount of pride that I feel in that moment, and then the amount of pride that I feel in getting to this moment,
Yeah.
and all of the things that have happened and have had to happen, and all of the things that we've had to go through and share and overcome, and like buying the new toy and
Yeah.
just like getting to this point from that point. That's freaking incredible, man.
Dude,
Like,
it's awesome.
I don't even know.
I'm pumped.
I don't even like, I got to say things in 3. Like we all know that by now. But
It's
like-
a Highlandism.
yeah, but
Well, I will say
dang,
this.
buddy,
Thank you for doing that. Like in that moment, you could have made the decision like I'm not going to open up, and we probably would never have gone down this road. Genuinely.
I think that the moment had been made before, right? Like I agreed to do the podcast, and I think
Well, so I'll put this for preference. You might not remember. This is the first episode. So we had recorded 2 in your apartment, and we were just kind of talking, right? This was
Yeah.
the first episode where we actually got into the book, and we actually like kind of dived into it. So this is, in terms of recording series, this is the 3rd episode ever recorded, ever, in terms of
man.
like Nopes and Opes history, right?
oh wow,
There is an episode on our Spotify that's before this that's called Intro to Nopes and Opes. That was recorded after we had filmed / recorded like 5 or 6 episodes. So this is
Oh.
the like bare bones, like Rowan and Highland opening up the book, getting to know each other, like peeling down the blindfold, getting to see who we really are kind of episode.
oh wow, that adds even better context. Like that even makes it more powerful.
We'll take a second to think about it. We got to switch over.
Okay. Oh, I'm blown away right now. I'm kind of speechless.
All right. Well, we'll play a little bit more, and then we'll see if we need to skip farther.
Thank you.
No, dude. Thank you for writing the book. And I know that we were initially talking a few minutes ago about just how it's not. I don't treat it as a self-help book. To me, it seems like advice. It's not telling you what to do. It's like, hey, here's something that's worked for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's huge.
Thank you.
No, seriously, because a lot of the stuff, like I've had conversations with my younger brother when we both have gone through, some kind of issues, whether it be mental health or just like our own self-esteem, whatever it may be. And a lot of it was he was reading things or hearing things that were like, this is how you should feel about it. And then it helped him, which is great.
Yeah.
And then he tried to be like, Rowan, you should do this. And I tried to tell him like, hey man, I tried. It's not working out for me. And it's especially tough when you're trying to help someone that you care about that's going through a rough time,
Yeah.
and it's like this worked for me, this should work for you. It's like it's all based on the individual. Like it's not a one. It doesn't cure all. Like it's just good advice, and it's what I like about how small it is and how broad kind of the lessons are, is that you can interpret it in any way.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, no,
Like-
absolutely. Like there are specifics in it that kind of just are like advice on how to
Whoa, what was that?
certain things.
I
in
think-
life.
I think
like you
we-
get
you
into
banged on the,
relationships. You get into
Microphone?
education, which are
The
very
microphone
specific,
holder
but
thing.
a lot
Oh.
of the like big kind of chapters that I think are really important are so broad. Like this is a good segue into the next one. My favorite chapter and the question, which I think that
This is good.
I do this all the time because I'm a bit of a people pleaser.
Ooh,
And
this is
so
back when I was a people
the
pleaser.
question, I'll have you read the question on page 16, the very beginning of it. But I think that, go ahead. I want you to read it, and I'll comment on it after.
The heavy
Uh,
breathing is
So
killing
this
me.
is, I think,
Granted, remember, this is when I first started editing. I had no idea what I was doing. I have now, since then, edited all of the breathing out.
Well, I just want to say sorry to the people that listened in the beginning because that's not good. It's really not good.
Granted, it is. We are talking into microphones that pick up a lot of things right now.
The problem is I just realized this. It reminds me of my dad. Like my dad's, 80, whatever, and like you're talking to him and he's just and you're just like, geez, dude.
Nice
like,
Darth Vader.
Relax, man.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
that's
"Oh,
also
no,
something that I can
that's
fix
me."
on whatever. Here, breathe normally right now.
I am. What do you mean?
Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't like picking up on the mic.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what breathing abnormally means. Like, what?
Never mind. Don't worry about it. It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Don't mess with my head.
I haven't edited any clips when I've recorded it this way, so we'll see. There might be another set of kind of training wheels for Rowan, so we'll see. But
Oh God.
because now that I have this, it's a different format, right? It's going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
Behind closed doors.
It does feel like with the earphones on or the headphones or whatever, it does feel like, holy God, it picks up everything.
Yeah. No.
Like the lip smacks and everything. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So that's but like I can change and like fluctuate. It's fine.
this is the question that we are asking ourselves at every moment of every day of our whole lives. It's something that's just innate in everything that we do. So this is it. Will anyone who knows me now or has known me in the past, or anyone that I know now or have known in the past, or most importantly, myself, disapprove of this thought or action?
And that is something that I feel like, as a people pleaser, is something that I constantly am asking myself, and then being like, okay, is this specific person going to disapprove of me not wanting to do this specific thing? Whether it be taking the tools home, or like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things where you'll ask yourself that question. And I've always I tried to figure out what exactly I was doing when I'm people pleasing, in a sense. Like I asked myself the question, like, why am I doing this specific thing? Like, why do I care so much about this person? And I just love how, like, kind of eloquently that question is put, because it really kind of defines that it's like, it's not necessarily the person you're in front of. It could be your parents. It could be grandparents from the past. Like, it could be anyone in your life will look at this and be like, what do you think? Because there have been decisions or things that I've done that I might think like, oh, what would people in high school that I went to high school think about me? You know, like it's the past, and it's like totally not important, but it's something that's
Really?
in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man,
Seriously.
No,
mentioned
I
the
still
people
think,
outside because I
unfortunately, I think, we talked about in the unresolved issues episode, but for the longest time, I've would my ex-girlfriend be proud of this, right? And I've lived that way for so many years, and it's like, yeah. So
Yeah, we
I'm
hold on
sorry,
to things.
I'm sorry I laughed at you for that, because
No,
that's a
no.
proper
No.
that's a proper statement for sure.
No, I think you laughed because I can hear in your voice, and I just know that I was saying things that got you excited
Yeah,
because you were like, "Oh, this is what I want people to get from the book."
yeah.
Like I think I was saying the things that you were like, Yes. And I think that's what kind of got you to be like, all right, I feel good about this, right?
Yeah.
Because at first, it's like first 10 minutes, it's very like, I don't know how I feel about this. But then as I get you kind of laughing and getting you going and whatnot, it gets
Yeah.
to a point where you're like, oh,
Well, I think you reacted to that book exactly how I had envisioned the, like they say, write the book for, know your population, know the people that you're writing the book for.
yeah, know your audience.
Yeah, and
whatever it may be.
have a desired response.
Yeah.
And you were responding exactly how
Yeah.
I wanted you to respond, for sure.
I'm just, Lance, please don't throw up. Please. Just go lay down. Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Think all the time. My grandma and grandpa, on my mom's side, we would call them Bama and Bapa. And I think
Talk about Bama and Bapa first episode.
I had a really good relationship
They're
with
They're
my
a big influence.
grandma and
They're
grandpa.
still a big
And,
influence.
Of course, of course.
I think of them often looking down and being
Yeah.
like, Highland.
Yeah, like, it's a good decision.
You know
right?
I'm looking at you.
Of that. Like, you shouldn't be doing that.
And I think that is just something that
Oh,
why I like it so much is that once people are kind of aware.
okay.
of
Hold
that-
on. We
This is
gotta,
an
we
option.
gotta, we gotta address.
We
We
gotta
gotta
address.
address that. That statement right there will be revealed and in some episode, in some way.
Yeah.
Like, not exactly. I made a huge mistake. Like, we recorded more than one
Yeah.
today, and the last episode that we recorded just before this one or whatever, like, it was such a good episode,
was
and
great.
I totally made a mistake, and I just, like, maybe I can just make it a public apology right here. I just want to say I'm so sorry to everyone, because it was possibly one of our better episodes and super fun and super, I think, informative, maybe too informative. Well, no, not maybe, definitely too informative. But like when we're filming, we actually have to stop halfway through and switch over the camera, and then we begin again.
Yep.
And me being who I am, I turned off the freaking microphone and I forgot to turn the microphone back on. So the whole last 30 minutes of the episode, I'm sitting here like this, talking into the microphone, like thinking that I'm being a brilliant, like smart,
Yeah.
witty, funny commentator. And there's no sound being picked up
No
because I
idea
had
whatsoever.
not turned on the microphone.
Yeah.
And so that episode will definitely have a variation in sound quality,
Yeah.
but hopefully you'll tune in because it is worth it.
Yeah, and I'll put in the intro an explanation, and when we market it out, I'll talk about like, hey, this is a fun one. You're gonna learn a lot more about Highland that maybe you wanted to know, but yeah, it was. And the reason, it's a great episode. Just listen to the episode. We'll get there.
And Bama and Bapa are looking down, like
Yes.
in that episode.
They're looking at
And I think
and maybe not approving of what's happening.
I think that reference was exactly to that moment explained in that episode.
Wow.
Of that, like, I think it's a subconscious question you ask yourself.
Yeah.
You're not actively thinking it, but just deep down in your subconscious,
Yeah.
you're like, is this a good idea? Because your entire childhood, your sphere of
Think it's okay if I skip ahead a little
Yeah, let's do it.
bit? All right, let's go to like 25 minutes,
A magic number, whatever that might be.
24:07.
Okay.
It's a necessary part of the human condition, right? There's always different wants. There's always different goals, and they are going to be in opposition to each other, and there's going to be conflict in that sense. So, but for this, it's more of a personal and like inner, much more internal. But yeah, you can kind of extrapolate that to the external world as well, and it remains true.
Yeah.
Sometimes I
think,
listen to some of these episodes or statements or whatever, and I'm like, dang, Alan, you sound really smart.
Yeah.
Like, much smarter than I actually am. I don't know how I'm faking it so well, but jeez.
You just have these moments of genius, and then you
like-
forget it.
Yeah, like, good job, buddy. Like, you're really, really fooling people well.
You're saying something.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot easier for me reading it to kind of be self-aware because of just my
age and have developed, how is it that you would try and communicate this to the kids you're working with? Because I think they're not as self-aware of what's going on. Especially conflict in school is definitely something that
Ooh, I'm interested in this
is
answer.
kind of frowned upon. Like if you're arguing with teachers, it's
How did I answer
essentially
this?
it's conflict. But how is it that you would try and communicate that idea to, you know, kind of the younger generation and growing up and figuring out how to kind of work through that?
I mean, like you get these types of questions in interviews all the time, and my generic kind of cop out answer is,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
it
of course.
really is individualized, right? It really depends upon the
You
situation.
said, it's funny as you've said this before.
on the
Like I was just editing an episode where you said this
abilities,
exact thing
the
because I asked a
maturity,
question like
things
that again.
But
Yeah. Yeah,
also,
I should have known
I
this
mean,
answer.
there's
This is my
really basic
this is my
concepts,
go-to
like-
answer.
if a teacher asks you to do something and you don't want to do it, that's conflict, right? And you got to figure out, okay, if I don't do this, what's going to be the end result, and can I take responsibility for that, right? If you don't do your work and you get an F in class and have to take it again, is that something you're willing to do?
Yeah.
If not, then I suggest you do the work.
It's not a bad
It's
answer.
Also, like, I mean, me personally, talking about how I'm always conscious of that question, right? For kids and people of younger generations, I think they're completely unaware of what they're doing. Like, for instance, when I was in high school, I never really knew why I was doing the things that I did. They just kind of
Yeah.
happened. And I'm curious if, you know, the conversations you have with your students, you don't have to give specifics, of course, but have you encountered situations where you can kind of tell that they are self-aware of what's going on? Or is it kind of always something where they have no idea and they're just kind of acting
Ooh, I'm interested in this answer too.
Well, there's a couple things that you got to. Hopefully, I cover all these things. But the whole reason that I'm doing this podcast in the bigger scheme of things is because one of my students at the high school level asked me for a copy of the book, and I said no way, because they are not cognitively developed at that point to figure out and think about a lot of the concepts in the book.
Is it still that? Is that still the reason? Or is it because you don't think something harsh has happened to them yet for them to be ready for it?
I changed my mind about that actually. That's interesting to me.
Because I feel like you might have students that maybe have gone through something very traumatic or very harsh and where they could actually receive the information.
Yeah, I feel as if I am like if a kid came to me and I had a good relationship with that person and they wanted a copy of the book, I would preface it in a way that, create some seriousness and say, hey, there's some really difficult topics and there's some very advanced theories and kind of things that may cause a little bit of discomfort to you. And there's some things that I write that I don't necessarily agree with at this moment, that I would maybe change or write differently now. But in a general sense, this is who I am, this is what I believe, and this is what I think can be beneficial to you. And I hope that if you do actually read these words and you have some questions, you have some thoughts, you have some disagreements, whatever they may be, please come to me and talk to me and we'll figure it out together. But I think, there's value. Yeah, I'm more willing to share this book with whoever might be interested. I would just do it in a much more calculated and kind of more involved way. Like with adults, I can just give you the book and like let you think about it, whatever you're going to think about it.
No.
You know, if you read it and you don't like it, that's fine. That's fine with me. But with a person younger than 20 years old, I would want to be like, hey,
You did do that with me. You did preface before you gave it to me. You're like, hey, by the way, there's some topics in the book that are pretty out there,
Yeah.
and pretty harsh and whatnot. And so, I mean, you didn't preface that your mind had changed, Granted, you didn't have a podcast that completely evaluated all the things that were said and whatnot, but
Yeah.
I mean that's huge, man. That's progress. I mean, I remember so many times you'd be like, I would never give it to one of my students, and
Yeah.
now to hear you kind of go at it in a different way, but still be willing to share it. I mean, that's massive, man.
Well, I think it's interesting too because I would also say there's a podcast as well that's tied to the book, and that'll give you some like different insights and different views and different kind of perspectives of me, right? I think I try to present whatever I try to present, like
Yeah.
within the working environment, and I think people don't realize, you know, like when you first met me, I try to present myself as very serious, very
Yep.
professional, very intelligent, whatever, you know, whatever.
Stoic.
Yeah, stoic, not very emotional.
Yeah.
Not goofy, not
Yeah.
like I'm not laughing, whatever. But yeah, like, and I think just giving the perspective from the podcast and just having like some of the funny stories and some of the sad stories and some of the
Yeah.
just some of the context behind some of the words and thoughts, I think it's really, really valuable and something that can benefit a lot of people. And I think that's one of the beauties of this thing is that it allows people to like have more context, have more insights into who we are and how we think, and not judge things with such limited information. Like it's
Right.
just, it just gives so much more
Yeah.
information and context.
It's funny you say that. We'll kind of leave on this, but yeah, there have been some people that I don't want to see the podcast because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's like the real me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this is me sharing stories, really being vulnerable as hell. Because I mean, you can walk through life much more guarded, right? You can protect a lot of the things and insecurities and whatnot, and you can also use that to kind of like allure people, right? Like, oh, he's so mysterious, right?
Oh God.
But if I'm like, hey, check out my podcast, I'm like, oh, that's all gone. Yeah. So any women that are thinking about dating me, stop listening now.
Yeah.
Don't watch.
Yeah. Any allure, any
Yeah.
mystery that I had created over 50 years,
Yeah.
shot to hell.
Yeah.
Like it's like the reality of this mess right here is clearly apparent.
But hopefully
unfortunately.
people can find some good in the vulnerability and honesty and
No,
authenticity.
I'm happy to like. I mean, I still think there's plenty of mystery. Like, you know, there's a lot that you don't know. But
Yeah. Same.
I think the stuff that I have shared, I hope is valuable and beneficial. And you know, I share it for a reason. Like, I mean, I've mentioned this before, but everything I do is very calculated, right? There's nothing that's really extemporaneous and to any real extent. And so when I think about sharing things on this, I always kind of double, triple think it through. But yeah, I mean, oh my God, the stuff I shared this weekend, out of control, man. Like,
Oh, it was great. I
gotta-
loved it. It
I
was a
gotta-
good time.
Gotta rein that in, man. But
Yeah.
you know, I think for me, like I said in this episode, like I'm ready to share. Like I'm ready. Like I think, like I just want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the end, like I wrote the book. I'm doing this podcast. Like I'm out there doing the blog, whatever, the art, all of it is simply because I want to help people. And if I have to share an embarrassing story or an embarrassing fact about myself in order to help somebody else, absolutely, I'm all about it. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
No, I'm so game for that. So
Yeah.
game. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
That was incredible. I sincerely appreciate that. I didn't expect. I feel really freaking good right now.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, guys, if you enjoyed listening to us kind of recap or re-listen to something from the past, let us know because we'll. I think we're definitely going to do more of these because I mean I want to do them, and I think there'll be some fun ones. There'll be some emotional ones. It'll be kind of nice to look back on and to see where my headspace was at and how I really want to do the one where we watched the lacrosse one where I talk about sphere of influence. I feel
Oh,
like that would be
man.
a really good one just to kind of see how my mindset's changed and the way kind of I talk about it and the way you talk about it, and maybe kind of reflect on how maybe we have a different opinion on it.
Well, and I think it'd be a really good just case study in growth.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Like the amount of growth that you have experienced from that point to here, and basically amount of growth because of relationship and because of knowledge of
Oh my God.
yourself and the world around. And I mean that just perfectly exemplifies the whole point
Yeah.
of this podcast.
I mean, I got a lot of it to thank for you, man. Like a lot of the stuff that I've.
Nah, everything about this is a team effort.
No, fair. Right, we're in it together. Well, as part of the team, we want the audience to be part of the team,
Yeah.
right? The Nopes and Opes squad. So if you like anything we talked about, or if there's a specific episode you want us to revisit, let us know at NopeOpePod@gmail.com. The book is still available in the podcast description, as alongside of a link to our website, which you can buy some of Highland's art projects and everything. I definitely think you should check them out. I think you should start listing some of your paintings because I love your paintings, but I think you should start to maybe list some of those. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll work on it.
he'll think about it, right? I'm making this podcast. Make some art, man. Get to it.
Okay. Got it.
Well, with all that being said, guys, we hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.